Fox 40 is your local election headquarters, and we are tracking the races that matter to you here locally across the state and the country. Earlier, I got to speak with Democratic political strategist Steve Maviglio. He said with so many issues being decided, Democrats didn't put enough emphasis on one issue.
Democrats have so much to talk about, whether it's abortion or gun safety or democracy itself, that unfortunately they didn't focus on the central issue, which is the economy. They should have focused on how Republicans have no plan. The last time Republicans were in charge of doing something about inflation, they gave everybody a pin that said whip inflation now, and inflation went up. But Democrats really have to talk about the economic issue. I worked on a campaign a long time ago where there was a sign that said it's the economy, stupid, and Democrats need to remember that.
All right, I am joined by Republican analyst Karen Rosenberry right now to give us some perspective on today's midterm elections. Karen, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Richard. It's a pleasure being here. I appreciate you inviting me.
No problem. So I'm interested because we've heard a lot about the red wave that is sweeping across the nation, and we haven't heard the results, obviously, from the elections yet. But have you noticed a red wave here in California? And I'm not just talking about some of the big offices, obviously, but some of the smaller offices, school board, city council, district supervisor, that kind of thing.
Sure. I'm cautious about the red wave coming to California. I do think that the House will be retaken by Republicans. I think even the Senate is certainly within grasp as well. Those local races have definitely been, I think, strategically gone after by Republican candidates. And I do think that we will start to see a number of them taken in a less partisan fashion than perhaps the bigger races that we've been watching. But I think things that have happened over the last couple of years have really gotten average citizens involved. And when we've seen schools shut down, when we've seen Board of Supervisors extend measures and policies that have been, I think, impactful to a lot of small businesses, there's been a response by, I think, a lot of individuals to step into that void. And I think we are seeing Republican candidates step up to fill those seats.
And when you talk about these are issue-oriented candidates, they don't like to get weighted down in, hey, have voted for Trump, not voted for Trump, moderate Republican. They're like, we don't care about that. We're focused on the issue. Do you also feel when it does come to messaging on some of the bigger offices, statewide offices, and the fight to get Republicans in some of those offices, that messaging, they've hit the message on the head as far as communicating that?
I definitely think that the focus has been on the kitchen table issues that impact voters most. One of the, I think, most salient tweets that I saw was, fill your gas tank, do your grocery shopping, look at your 401k, then go vote, and you're going to know what to do. And I think that that's a very wise sentiment, because especially here in California, there's just no excuse for the gas prices that we're seeing, and that's purely a democratically controlled legislature. And so when those have not been adequately addressed, I think that there is going to be at least some response by voters to say, wait a second, you've had your chance, and we might see at least a number of those independents and sometimes undecided decide to go with their pocketbook on some of those issues.
And that's the important point. It's not like they're trying to choose Democrat or Republican. They're frustrated and they want another option, and that's where you guys come in, trying to hit the message really hard as far as the economy. What else have you noticed going into this election? I think a lot of people are, when we talk about a state that has 2-to-1, 2 Democrats for every 1 Republican, can it make that much of a difference? Is this, starting at the smaller office, the stepping stone to changing that equation?
Well, I think that when you get a foothold in those offices and you begin to build relationships with the voters is absolutely key. And so the more that we can see that, wait a second, these are individuals that have actually, served our interests well, in the city council, on the school board, on the water board, even up to, I think, those county supervisor levels, that, people begin to really realize, okay, maybe I need to rethink this hyper partisanship that's been going on and causing this divisiveness within our country. And maybe it's actually the way that we bridge and we reach across the aisle a little bit more, starting with those lower offices, to get people to rethink partisanship in a different way.
Yeah, excellent perspective there. Republican analyst Karen Rosenberry, thanks so much for joining us, Karen. I like your perspective, and it's nice to chat with you today.